Well, guess what has arrived? The new buyer-broker agreements in our stellar MLS. My name's Robyn Cavallaro. I'm a licensed realtor here in Florida and in the Villages. I am in the Villages expert MLS realtor. If you're looking to buy or sell a home here, you know you want to give me a call. Before we get into the meat of this material, though, you have to check out this journal. Well, all right, so these are the books I was telling you about. I just published them. They're available on Amazon. Journal sheet where you would keep track of each particular home. I have a place here for the address, the village section, when it was built, taxes. You can circle the general area homes, and you want to put together a budget. I have my monthly budget. Talking about a vendor, you can jot that down right here, and you can keep this. This should be a resource for you, something that you could keep even after you make your purchase. But even if you're far away, like I said, if you're still looking from afar, you definitely can use this and keep everything organized. When you are going to make a renovation, this is the project place where you can keep everything organized. And let's see if you get a home that's Robyn approved. But if you select me as your realtor and you get in the car with me, I will give you a complimentary copy so you can follow along and keep all your notes in one spot. Okay, so we have had the new seller to broker forms and how the seller will compensate the buyer, the broker, the listing agent's broker, and we're going to go to the computer after this. So I'm going to give you just a real quick tour around the forms. But the buyer's broker thing is just causing a tizzy with a lot of people. They're asking, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? So number one, I really don't think too many things are going to change. I still think sellers will offer some type of concession, compensation, whatever they're going to call it, commission, to an agent that or a realtor who will bring the buyer to their property, because we're all working to bring them a buyer. Okay, so, but buyers, remember, you've always paid. So you've always paid in the sell price because the sellers have included that commission in the sell price of their home. So you've always paid, it's just how you're going to pay it will be different. And we're gonna go and look at that form. But in my opinion, buyers, don't get yourself all worked up, because we can get really creative in how you make an offer. So for example, if, and here's the thing, everybody's asking, what's your fee, what's your fee? I'm gonna tell you right now, you're probably not gonna find too many realtors that are going to start working for very little money, because they have to pay their broker. And by the time they pay their franchise fees and their brokers and their desk fees and insurance and all those things, gas, wear and tear on the car, computer, internet, all once they get done paying all that, it really adds up. And you have to remember, you're gonna hire an individual like myself because of our depth of experience in the market. And this is a unique market here in the Villages, and you want to find somebody who has a lot of experience, knows the prices of homes, has sold a lot of properties here, knows how to navigate and negotiate. That's going to be huge for you moving forward. I use this example to someone, I don't know about you, but when I go to the salon, I certainly don't want the person right out of beauty school cutting my hair. I want the experienced person. So just, I say this all the time, they're good and bad and everything. And just because someone's cheap, there could be a reason for that. So when you're going to make your selection, you want to make sure that you're still keeping the same things in mind when it comes to, because there's so much that goes into, it's all the knowledge and experience that you gain from buying and selling homes here. But it's also, I have people send me listings and I'll say, nah, you don't like that. You don't want that house because based on marketing analysis that I've done, that it's overpriced, or there's going to be a lot of work. I've been in this home. I've seen the condition. It's probably not what you're looking for because I've seen a lot of these properties. So you want to interview your people and make sure they have the experience that matches what your end goals and wants and needs are. Okay, so I know I went off on a little because I got to sell myself here. But when it comes to the forms, we're going to go, like I said, we're going to go to the computer again and take a look at it. But there'll be some definite items that will have to be addressed. For example, some of the stuff is ambiguous, just your name and where you're looking and that kind of thing. But remember that ultimately you as the buyer are paying. And, I just want to touch one more thing before I go to the computer about getting creative. So let's just say, for example, you're looking at a house. I'll just use $300,000 for example. And let's say whomever you're working with or me, let's say the fee's $10,000. So if the house is $300,000, you may say, okay, well, my starting offer is a minimum of $290,000. Now let's get into the property and see what needs to be done. And then I'll make my offer based on that. You could also, put in the offer, I want the seller to pay the buyer's broker fee. So that's always an option. But we have to fill out this form, and the commission or our fee, our consulting fee, whatever you want to call it, because now we're playing with language like we're 5-year-olds. We can't say it this way, we got to say it that way. Whatever you negotiate, whatever the fee is going to be, we have to put it in this form, because in the event that I show you a home and the seller happens to not be paying any type of compensation, you will be responsible, and that will be taken out, that will be added to your closing statement. So just be aware of that. All right, so let's go over to the computer and take a little peek at some of the new forms that you can expect to find. Now, everything is supposed to go into effect August 17th. So keep that in mind. August 17th, if you're a buyer, you will be required. It's not an option. You must sign a buyer broker agreement before we are allowed to show you a property. I know, I think I said this in another video. I had a gentleman call me, it's probably about a month ago, and he was yelling at me, I'm not signing any form. I'm like, whatever, don't sign it, I don't care. Right now, you don't have to sign it, but when this ruling goes into effect, you're not gonna have anyone showing you a home. You always will have the option, so keep this in mind. You don't have to use a buyer's agent. You could go to every listing agent. You can call every listing agent, make the appointment to see the home, meet them over there. But I guarantee you, they're not going to do that for free either. The seller will pay them for listing it, but they're going to probably, more than likely, I can't say for everybody, charge you a fee to write up that contract, because now they have to write up the contract. They have to work with you through the inspection, the repairs, the closing. And I know it might sound trivial to you, but there is a lot. Smooth transactions are smooth transactions, but some are very difficult. And, some transactions can be a challenge. So, you want to make sure you have somebody experienced on hand, and just know that that is part. I used to use this example in my restaurant. We catered a party because I would have people say, oh, that's really expensive. I agree. But I sat down here with you. Well, first off, we had a consultation on the phone for about half an hour. Then I drew up the menus, we modified the menus, we put the shopping list together, we did the shopping, the prepping, the holding, the loading, the unloading, the cleanup, it's so, I would say, just like a real estate transaction, you look at it as 12 inches on a ruler. What you see that you're actually maybe paying for, not maybe paying for, what you see that you're paying for is probably 3 inches on that 12-inch ruler. The rest of it goes on behind the scenes before, behind the scenes during, and till closing. And I can't speak for all realtors, but for me, my clients know they still have an open phone line to me, and I've had to settle issues and help many of my buyers out with challenges on all different types of things post-closing. So those things all have a cost, because unfortunately, I would love it if it was Star Trek where we're just here to better ourselves, but we're here to eat and take care of our family, so we still trade with money. All right, everyone. Let's get over to the computer and take a look at some of these forms. All right, so to start, we don't have the listing agreement yet, and that's where we're waiting for to see what it says about how you're going to communicate what type of fee would be payable for a buyer's broker. But what they have posted are the compensation agreements. So this would be seller's broker to buyer's broker. That means you're selling your home, you have a listing agent, the listing broker, and this is the agreement that says this listing broker is going to pay the buyer's broker. And this will be in force with your agreement. So it'll say, well, once we get under contract, the seller's broker, the buyer's broker, the property, the term of the agreement, the compensation, and that's where it'll be listed here, so we all know who's paying what. The seller's broker will compensate buyer's broker as stated below at closing if the property if the buyer identified in paragraph 3 closes on the property and you're the procuring cause. So basically, it's the seller's broker is going to pay my broker because I brought them a buyer. That's basically what this contract says. And this is something that will go with the offer. All right, so now we're going to talk about the buyer-broker agreement. And this is the form that we're going to have to use when we get you in the car or you call and I have to look at a home for you, because this is going to lay out all our duties to you and the compensation that would have to be paid at closing in the event the seller is not offering compensation, or as I spoke with in the intro, that you're asking the seller to pay for the buyer agent fee. So, and really it's another contract. It outlines the dates, the times. Now, from what I've been told, this contract could be for one home. It could be for a day, a week, a month, whatever it is, just like a listing agreement. So it's an agreement between the broker, and I work for the broker because you're always hiring the broker, and you, the buyer. Type of property here, we would put whatever, single family home, location, very general. These areas here should be general. Then these are our obligations and your obligations in this buying process. The next would be if there's any retainer fee, because some brokers may ask for that, or some, realtors may ask, okay, that's fine, to begin this work, I need whatever, $500 or $1,000, whatever, to start the process and getting you information. Then there is the actual compensation section, and this is the compensation between you, the buyer, and the broker. The broker pays the realtor. That's how it works here in Florida. So it's going to give you options here. It could be a percentage, it could be a flat rate, based on a sale, a lease, the arrangement, the times, if there's any conditional termination, if there's any fees, if you terminate the contract. So this is something that you will be required to sign. We both have to sign it when you begin the home buying process. And this talks about what are duties to you for a single agent. That means we only represent you, because in Florida, we're technically transaction brokers. Transaction agents, we represent the transaction, but we can work with you exclusively. So, and that typically is how everybody kind of operates, but we still always represent the transaction. Now, because we can have both sides of the sale, the buy and the sell side, I've talked about this before. I technically don't really like that. It's great. The transaction smooths, house a nightmare. It's a nightmare I don't want. So this is what you can expect effective August 17th to sign every time you work with a realtor. Now, I would have to put in this here in the other terms that if you were to purchase from Property of the Villages, that you would not owe me any compensation. So just keep that in mind when you're doing these contracts, that because in this climate here, you can purchase a home and it might not be an MLS listing. So this, again, this doesn't just pertain to the Villages. This is anything. So if you were to come down here and say, hey, I want to look at Stone Creek, we would have to fill this out as well and outline the compensation. But Property of the Villages, we would leave that out because right now they still are their own animal. And or may say, hey, you might want me to represent you and you want me to go with you to look at the Villages properties. That's always an option for a fee. So discuss that with the real estate professional that you are working with when you're purchasing a home. Again, you will be required to sign these. I'm sure, just like with a listing, if you were to sign the agreement, and I have never had this happen, where I'm working with someone and then they call me and say, oh, hey, I went and bought a home with another agent. I haven't had that happen, and I would say for the most part, I'm sure it has happened. But this is going to be an agreement between you and your broker, or the broker and the realtor. So if you decide that you don't want to work with that person anymore, you're going to have to get out of this agreement. So think carefully when you're hiring somebody that they resonate with you and they have your goals and your back. All right. That's it for agreements. Now let's check this out at the end here. Well, thank you very much for joining me on this episode. I know this is going to be a big learning curve and process for everyone. So please use me as a resource. I am here to answer any questions. If I don't have the answer, I will get it. If I don't answer the phone, please call back or send me a text message, because sometimes I just get caught up with listings and buyers and I want to get back with everybody. So you may hear back from me, or you may hear back from my partner, Katie, but just know that we are working hard for you to get you the answers that you need to make this home buying process for you in the Villages as smooth and easy as possible. Okay, so that's it. Hey, you know what? It really rained this morning. I tell you what, it actually woke me up. But the grass is now green. And now it needs to be mowed. It got mowed yesterday. It looks like it needs to be mowed again today. All right, everyone. That's it for this episode. I'm Robyn Cavallaro. I am your realtor. Remember, call me. I'm your girl. All right, until next time. I'll see ya.